Hey guys, this is Nick at Meteora, and today I'm going to go through basics of campaign setup, how to do search retargeting, how to do proximity, when to use content category, all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be basically an intro video to everything campaign setup for Meteora. So you can see here, I went over to the left side, hit create campaign. This tutorial is assuming that you already have some ads uploaded here. So make some ads, put them in there, contact us if you want some ads. This is just going to assume that you already have some ads here, and I'm going to go right into it. So here's the main settings. You have find me new business using awesome filters. Woohoo. So this is prospecting for new customers. And then there's two different types of people based on where they've been targeting. So this is retargeting, like somebody comes to your website and you want to show them ads when they leave. Because they visited certain URLs on your site or something like that. There's also people based on where they've been, and you can see you get this segments. So this is your retargeting pools, all that kind of stuff. Then there's segments like event segments. So under segments, you can say, I want to bucket people into segments of that visited X certain location in the real world, like every Starbucks in Oakland, right? And then you can click on those segments here and it'll only target those individuals that are bucketed, right? So it's restricted by the number of people that are in a segment or multiple segments. But we're going to focus on prospecting today. So find me new business using awesome filters. You can see the segments tab was removed and you get this page. So name of campaign, so my test campaign, notes, some people like to put budgets in here like is going to run for 3 weeks, X date to Y date, etc. And then you got budget. So this is really important. You get this nice tooltip over here when you click on it. So if I want my monthly bill to be $1,000, then you would set your daily budget accordingly and it would calculate it here. So let's just put $5. Your monthly is going to be $140 for this campaign. Weekly is $35. And the daily is $5. You can see how scheduled totaled is not available because there isn't a schedule for this campaign. It's ongoing. So it's going to bill every week for what's used. So that's how the system kind of works is, let's say you want your weekly or your daily budget to be $5. That means you're going to be charged the number of days left in the week times $5. So if it's Wednesday, it's 5 times Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then you get rebilled on Sunday night, depending on your time zone, Monday morning. So it's going to fill that up, charge one time so that it can run ads for the next couple of days without worrying about it. And then when you get recharged on the first day of the week, like I said, Sunday night, Monday morning, really early, then it's going to charge you for the next week. So in this case, it would be a full $35, assuming that you already spent the money that was deposited from the last week. Let's assume that you still had $5 left over that hadn't been spent yet because we couldn't find the target for whatever reason. Then you would get charged $30 to fill up the toll tag back to where it can spend good for the next week on schedule without bothering another charge to your card or something like that. What's important to note is if you charge for $5 and it charges, and then halfway through the week before it rebills on Sunday, let's say on Friday night, you go, you know what, I want to spend some more money this week. So you change this to $10. So now it's $280 or $70 a week, $280 a month. It's going to charge the difference so that it has enough money for the next billing cycle to kind of meet that new daily budget for the next couple of days. So you might get a charge right then if it's more. And then on Sunday, you'll get the whole $70 if you spent it all, if that makes sense. It's just a way to where the system can always have the money it needs to find your target and stay on your daily budget. And that way you're not getting a bajillion card charges. The other thing you might notice is if you had it at $10 and you go back to $5, you're going to have extra funds there from the previous week most likely. And you might not get charged at all depending on how much is in there. And you can see over here you got budget and then pacing behind. So this is a great indicator if you ever wonder, hey, my campaign's behind. How much money should I add into the daily budget to try to catch it up? Well, a very common mistake is, hey, let's say I spent 30 bucks and I want to spend 50 by Sunday, by the end of the week. A common mistake is somebody might go into here and put the extra $20 in. But if we haven't met the other budget, pacing behind will tell you, this will say, let's say it has $20 in here. That means there's $20 where the system just couldn't find your target, so it's pacing behind the schedule. So it's not spending the money on time because it just can't find those people. So that's pacing behind. Pacing on schedule means it's hitting the target and spending the money perfectly with the week how you wanted it. But sometimes that can be difficult. So it'll show here, in our example, let's assume there's $20 here, and you want to spend $50 by the end of the week, and you've currently spent $30. If you change this to where you think it's going to spend another $20, you want to make sure that the pacing behind is at 0. Because if it's at 20, you're going to spend $70 because it's going to assume that you want to spend 50 because you just raised your, or it's going to assume you already spent $30. If you add in 20 bucks here, it's going to spend another $20, but the pacing behind value is already there. It's already in the banking system out there on all the servers nationwide. So it's going to still try to spend that $20 that's in your toll tag. So you're effectively just raising your toll tag amount and still leaving that old amount there. That's where people get tripped up and you can spend money that you didn't expect to spend. But it's definitely accurate, and that's how it's working. Now you get down to here to optimization, or actually, let's quickly do schedule. So let's say I wanted to put the schedule for a couple days there. Now if I go back up, since schedule's on, schedule total equals $30. So since there's a schedule, it is going to charge you $30 up front so that it doesn't charge you again and it just fulfills that whole window with your campaign. So if this was much more expensive, you can say, I want to spend $150 a day. Now you're going to get charged $900 to fulfill this whole budget up front. Now later, if you change the budget, you still want to look at pacing behind and that kind of thing to make sure you're not going to overspend. But these are great indicators of schedule total, daily budget, and pacing behind are great things to look at. So let's go back. I'm going to turn the schedule off. This is optimization. This was made to make things very simple, so there's not all these crazy algorithms going on and people trying to teach you like insane math. There's a lot of things going on back here. So when you first start your campaign, leave the notch all the way to the left towards reach, because what's going to happen is the campaign doesn't know much about you. Like you could be the same company, but you could have 150 SKUs that you're selling, and each one's going to react to the target audience differently. So every time you make a campaign, it's going to re-optimize. And there's apps that we have over here in the store that speed up that process, but let's focus on the basics here because it's very important. So we'll leave it all the way to the left, and that's so that it doesn't do any optimization without data first. So we're going to start this campaign with it all the way to the left. It's going to spread out towards the network. It's going to show ads to different varying people in the targets on different sites with different ad sizes that you have uploaded, and it's basically going to test everything with your budget. Then after you get a certain number of ads shown, impressions, or if you spent, a good indicator is also dollars spent. I'd say that it's a good idea to not move this notch until you spent around $1,000, maybe $1,500, depending on the price point of your product. If your price point is a higher product point, like a Rolex or a $1,000 surfboard, then I would wait a little longer. But if it's like a T-shirt or something like that, you can obviously do it a little sooner. So then you're going to want to move it one notch. And what's going to happen is on this second notch is it's going to go through all the data we've collected historically about this campaign, and it's going to say which domain names that I'm showing these ads on are not working for this campaign. And it's going to just delete those. It's going to take those out so that it never serves on those domains again. It's going to basically make an automatic blacklist of sites that are either overperforming to the point where they're just very unlikely and could be not good domains or bad ad slots or something like that. And then it'll start increasing the amount you use the domains that are performing well, and obviously not at a fraudulent level or something like that, like really quality stuff. Then after a little bit of spend, I'd move it over again, and a little bit more spend, move it over all the way to the right. What's going to happen on these other two notches is some pretty advanced stuff, but essentially, when we're placing ads on sites, there's an auction that happens every time a page loads, and we're bidding for that person's eyeball. If you move it to this third notch, what it's going to do is start looking at things like ad sizes and go, oh, this ad is performing better than this other sized ad, so let's bid higher for this ad slot than another one. Again, there's some extremely deep, like granular and detailed algorithmic, wow, this is like the longest sentence ever, mathematics going on behind the scenes, so I wouldn't worry too much about this. Basics is, every couple thousand in spend, just move it over one notch, and it'll automatically do some really great things for you, so you don't have to manually go in and blacklist and set bid prices and all this stuff. That's where Meteora really shines. So we've made it very simple with that slider. Now let's move over to ad groups. So you created some ads and uploaded it here. Let's just select a couple ad groups, and you can see over here in the overview, it's kind of giving you a quick view of what's going on here. So the more I add in, you can see them going in. Okay, so I'm going to target these 3 ad groups and show those ads to my target. Now I'm going to go over to apps, and this is where Meteora is really cool, because you can get all the third-party technologies out there that are kind of important to a campaign without having to sign up for multiple platforms or 5 million third-party contracts just to find your target audience. And all this stuff is mostly free. So right now there's 28 apps, I think, that are 100% free, and you can see if they're paid in here. But right now, everything in the platform as the time I'm making this video is free. So there's no extra back-end CPM middleman taking out your performance, which is just super powerful. You can basically make anything you want without having to do that. So let's look at a couple of things that are default. Default items you'll see in a lot of platforms. Pacing, so we talked about how the budget works earlier. And you can either spend evenly over the period, where you're trying to spend that daily budget evenly, or let's say you have an event and you want all of that money available so that as soon as you hit the targets that are in this campaign and we find that exact target customer, it for sure is going to have the money there to spend until it's out. And you say spend as fast as possible. Now this is very important. There's a lot of issues with this feature. Usually it's only for advanced people, but we've made it kind of a default here. And here's something to think about is, if you put $10,000 into the system and you hit spend as fast as possible, and for some reason you forget that you're targeting a very broad audience, so let's say we don't select any filters here. Right now, Meteora is going to go out on the web and it's going to buy every ad slot it sees, because it doesn't have a target audience. It doesn't have a target user. So if I say I want to target every single person that's in Alabama, right, then this is going to go out and spend 10 grand if you hit spend as fast as possible, unbelievably fast, like probably in like less than 30 minutes. I mean, just by the time it reaches all the servers and stuff, it'd be really fast. So if you accidentally did that, it's going to spend that money. It's going to do exactly what you tell it to do. So if you do spend as fast as possible, make sure you have a lot of targeting on so that it goes at that exact audience. Or maybe like you're a Shark Tank company and you know you're about to appear on TV, then you might want to do spend as fast as possible, because there's going to be a lot of people looking up your stuff in like the 4 hours after the show occurs, right? So those are good examples. Most of the time, 99% of the time, keep it on spend as evenly over a period. Keyword contextual. So this is basically, I want to target people that are on pages that have heavy keywords for shoes. So they're reading content that has shoes in it very heavily, like an article about the new Nikes or something. You can put a lot of keywords up in here. 2,000 keywords help you reach your audience. I would recommend putting your keywords list, even if you only have 10 through like a Google keyword tool or something like that, to come up with a big solid list that you can optimize towards. And then you can always delete keywords, but you want to get that reach. And it's very important that as you turn on apps, they stack on top of each other. So if you do geography, you want to target everybody in Alabama. Now you can see this campaign is going to target everybody in Alabama, okay, that also are on pages that have shoe keywords. So the chances of hitting that user just went down by a factor of a bajillion, right? Because they'd have to be in Alabama and be on a page that had shoes for us to show an ad there, right? So you want to be careful that you're not limiting it too much, because it can go down dramatically. Like, what are the chances of that? I mean, that's still pretty high, but then you might see sometimes where you'll do multiple things like that, plus the domain has to be ESPN.com. Then what are the chances that somebody's in Alabama and ESPN.com has a page dedicated to talk about shoes, right? I mean, it's still there, but you're not going to spend very much. You remember, our platform average CPM is $3, so that means you'd have to hit 1,000 of those people one time to spend $3. So just something to take note. Then you have frequency cap. Frequency cap is going to be how many times do you want to show an ad to a user before you stop showing one to them at all. So show no more than 8 ads per user per 1 day, hour, minute. You can do your choice. A good cap for a lot of people is 8 ads per 1 day. But if you have a higher priced item like a Rolex or something like that, a general rule is to increase this. I've seen sometimes people won't convert until about 32 ads are shown, but since it's a high price ticket, you can afford to do that with your margins. Content targeting is the same thing as keyword contextual, where we're targeting people based on the keywords on the page, except for instead of on the page itself, a category would be the site level. So it'd be like sports. Okay, now we're only going to target people that are on ESPN.com or FanDuel or something like that, right? It's just sports related from an entire site perspective, not on the page content level that's on that page. You can select multiple, so you can say I want to target people that are on sports sites or gardening sites, which is nice. So that's the basic setup for a campaign. You can add in more apps after this, but I'm going to do those apps in separate videos, like how to do viewability with Moat, how to do proximity targeting campaigns, search retargeting campaigns, weather targeting campaigns. But that's the basics of how the Create campaign works, and then you can stack things on top of it using the App Store. So check out my next videos, and I'll go into each of these, like proximity targeting.